Dear students, in the last class we studied bleaching powder, its uses, baking soda, its uses, and at last washing soda we studied. Washing soda, I have written Na2CO3 10H2O, right? Na2CO3 and 10H2O I have written. What is this 10H2O? Some of the salts, they are in the crystal form, or when they form into crystalline structure, they combine with the water molecule and they form that structure. And in the example of sodium carbonate, the washing soda, it forms water of crystallization with the 10 water molecules. One formula in it will combine have 10 water molecule with it. That is why I have written 10H2O. Now, other examples I will give. Copper sulfate, one more salt, copper sulfate. This salt has 5 water molecule, the water of hydration. The water of crystallization is 5. That is one formula unit of copper sulfate. It has 5 water molecules. And one more example is gypsum. It is calcium sulfate. This also has water molecule in the crystal, 2 water molecule. Now I will show you one example. You may have the doubt that when water molecule is there, the salt may be wet, right? But salt looks dry itself. But I will do one experiment to show the presence of water in that crystal. I have taken copper sulfate. It is a dark blue color solid. You can see copper sulfate I have taken. This copper sulfate has water molecule. Now I will heat it, and after some time you can see water vapor collecting in the test tube at the, around this surface. Okay. Let's do the experiment. Now I will heat it slowly. This is dark blue, slowly it turns into white color. You can observe I am heating it, this copper sulfate salt. Now see, the color will change into little white color here. See, now a white color, dark blue it was. See the surface inside. Can you hear the sound? Can you see here? Water vapor is collecting inside here along the surface. Inside it is walls, you see. Water vapor is collecting here. I can hear the sound also. And see here, what is the color here? What is the color? White color. When I heated, the water molecule evaporated and it is stick to this surface of the glass, and the color changes into white color, copper sulfate. Now I add 1 or 2 drops of water. What happens? I will add small amount of water. Now see, the color again it reappears, blue color, dark blue color reappears. What it means? Again it will combine with the water molecule. It will combine with water molecule and the color reappears. That is called water of crystallization. Okay. Now the next salt, which is not obtained from the sodium chloride, you have seen the baking soda or bleaching powder, washing soda, they all obtained from sodium chloride, right? But we have to learn one more important salt which will play very important role, that is plaster of Paris. The last salt we have to study, plaster of Paris. It is gypsum. From gypsum, it has how many water molecule? 2 1 unit of copper calcium sulfate has got 2 water molecule. You have to heat it. When you heat it around 373 Kelvin, that is around 100 degrees Celsius. 373 Kelvin is 100 degrees Celsius. You will get the gypsum. Calcium. It is hemihydrate. Hemi means half. Now see, I have written CaSO4 half H2O. This is the plaster of Paris. And this is the mineral gypsum. You will get it in nature. Gypsum. So if you heat the gypsum, which is nothing but hydrated calcium sulfate, you will get the plaster of Paris. Now water molecule won't divide into half. The molecule is always full structure, right? Now why I have written half water molecule? Because while heating, the one water molecule shared between 2 calcium sulfate molecules. So 2 calcium sulfate molecule share only one water molecule. That is the reason the formula is CaSO4 half H2O. Okay, that is plaster of Paris. It is white powder substance, and you have seen that during fracture time, to make the bone position in a same position, the correct position, because it is slightly dislocation taking place while doing having the fracture, you have to keep it in its original proper position so that it will grow in a correct way and you won't get the displacement. Okay, so in that case we will use plaster of Paris. How they will do? They will add water. So when they add water, again it will take the water and it will get the gypsum back, but it is very hard structure. Okay, so when they will take the powder, plaster of Paris, add the water, and they will do plastic part, the place where you got fractured, and on solidifying it become white hard solid. You will get gypsum back. So plaster of Paris always you have to preserve it in a dry place, in a bottle, wherever it should be kept in a dry place. If it is wet or moisture is there, it will absorb and it will change back into gypsum. It is very hard structure. And other than by doing the fracturing of the bone structure, whatever it is, we will use the plaster of Paris for making toys or in decorative items, etc. We will use it, and even to make the surface smooth. This powder they will use it to smoothen the surface. That about the plaster of Paris. Okay, and we have finished the lesson acid, base and salt. You have learned in this chapter the acids and its some chemical properties. The presence of H plus ion in the water makes it acidic character. Then base we have learned the hydroxide ion in water make it basic in nature, and the neutralization reaction, and when acid react with base forming salt and water, and different salts we will get, and one of the salt, important salt we have learned sodium chloride, and in the electrolysis process which all the compounds we will get it, like chlorine we may get it, hydrogen, sodium hydroxide, which are all very important raw material that we studied, and some salts like bleaching powder, then baking soda, washing soda, and last plaster of Paris we studied. And in between the concentration of hydrogen ion, it can be determined by the pH scale, or it is mentioned, expressed using pH scale. It is 0 to 7 values in that scale. 0 is acidic in nature, this side, and 14, that end is basic in nature. In the middle 7, it is neutral, the solution is neutral. That is the thing we briefly studied in the acid, base and salt chapter. The next chapter we will learn is about very important energy. Can you guess? A very important energy in our day-to-day life, we will use it. Which energy? Morning till to going to bed. You will on the light, fan will run, TV will work, or your washing machine, mixie, grinder, bulb, tube light, ironing the cloth, everything, these all devices, they need electricity. So electricity chapter is also very important, children, because it's very important, this energy. So we have to learn about electric current, electricity chapter. Chapter 7, I think, in your textbook about electricity. Now, before explaining about electricity, I will show one simple experiment. Now, can you see circuit? Battery, switch and a small bulb have used. Switch is to on and to off. Making and breaking. Can you see, children? This is the battery I have used, switch I have used, and one bulb to indicate, and these are the wires I have used. Now, I will show it in the diagram. You cannot able to see it properly. I will draw the circuit. This is the schematic diagram. Symbolically, we will draw the same thing like this way. And I think you have learned in the smaller classes. This is the symbol, one big line and one small line. It indicates what? Cell. And there are two cells, and group of cells will call it as battery. And this is symbol for a bulb. The symbol for a bulb, it is, this is battery. And this is switch, and current is flowing. It is closed circuit and current is flowing. Now, here, what is electric current? Current means what? Current is nothing but flow. Current means flow of the particles, molecules, or flow of some small materials is called water current. We have learned water flowing, air current, air molecules are moving, wind all you will get. Now, what is electric current? Electric current, as I shown here, it is the movement or the flow of charges, electric charges. Now, what about these electric charges? How they will play? Move. Now, if you take water, before explaining this, now about charges, there are two types of charges. Actually, I will briefly explain, then I will go through that. In an atom, you have seen at the center we have nucleus. It is positive charge, and the electrons are revolving around the nucleus. It is negative charge. Now, in some of the elements in their atom, the outermost shell electrons, we will call it as valence electrons. If they get little electric force, they will come outside and they can move. Free electrons, we will say, and you have learned in metals like copper, aluminium, etc. It has valence electrons and they can able to come outside the atom when they get the force. And these are the charges, electrons. They are responsible for the flow of charges and it will make the electric current. Understood? But in insulators, in some of the materials, what we call insulators, there the electrons are bound in the atom. They cannot able to move like the metals in the atoms of the metals. It is not possible in case of insulators. They are bound electrons. But in case of metals like a copper, if you have seen in wire, copper usually we are using, right? Red color material, you can see metal, it is copper. So in that copper, electrons are free to move. Now by just using one wire and one bulb, can we get current or can the bulb will glow? No. We need some electric force to push it, make it. If they will move in randomly, if there is no electric force is there, just the electrons move randomly, we won't get electric current, it won't glow the bulb. So we need some electric force which is provided by the battery. So battery is needed to get this, to make this free electrons move, and we will get the electric current. It is the movement of the charges. So it is movement of the electrons make us, resulting in us in getting the electric current in the circuit. Okay, and this one we will say battery, and it will provide some potential difference. Before learning that, which I said earlier, one example I will take. A tap, if you have, if water is here, say it, where tank is here, will water will come and flow here? I draw the diagram here, you will understand. One tap is here. And if I will draw the water tank here, if I have the water tank here, water will come here and flow here. See the height of the water tank. It won't come here because they are in the same height. Now, if the water tank is at greater height, the tank is here, then water will flow from this tank and it will flow down, water from here, right? So there should be difference in the height, the gravitational height difference, the gravitational force make it to come down for the water molecule to move. And if you want continuous movement, when it becomes empty, you won't get water here, right? So to do what? If you will collect the water here, which fall here, and if you make some arrangement like pump whatever here, and if you connect it to the tank back here, can continuously water will flow here, come here, it will collect, the pump will make it to come and collect it in the tank again, it will come here. So continuous flow of water you will get it in this system. In the same manner, if you want to get continuous electric current, you need a battery which will provide some potential difference. For electric current, the gravity won't play. If you keep the wire, the electrons will not move down or up. You need the other difference, potential difference. Then from higher potential to lower potential, these charges will move, and the movement of charges, we will say it is the electric current. So in a circuit is the path of the electric current we will call circuit. In the circuit, to have the continuous movement of the electrons or to get the charged particles to move, to get the current, we need some potential difference to be maintained, and it is given by, provided by the battery. Inside the battery we have some chemicals, and using that chemicals it will able to provide some potential difference, and we will get continuous current. Now the thing is, what is potential? In the electricity we will learn what is the potential, that word will come. Potential energy or potential difference is nothing but from 2 points A and B point, 2 points, potential difference is there. What is the meaning? To move. Here, while bringing the charge from that point to another point, some work should be done. Okay, some work should be done. To do that work, battery sees it. The amount of work done in bringing the charge is called the potential difference. And we will study more about the electric current, what about the charges, how to measure it, what is the unit potential difference, and much more about electric current we will learn in the next class. Meanwhile, I will send the exercise notes to you, write it, read it, because exam FA1 is coming nearby, as you know. Okay, thank you.